Hello everyone and welcome and thank you for joining us. We'll just get actually what the plan is going to be today is going to be collecting a whole lot of science. There's one science tech node that I really do want to get before I do all of my moon landings. Remember, I do have this strategy in place I will be rewarded for putting 3 different probes and 3 different biomes on the moon. But before we get to that, just to sort of point out what's going on here, this is Munar 3, and Munar 3 last week, well, it had a bit of a bad time. Its plan was to collect materials-based science in high and low space, as well as goo science in high and low space about the moon. Unfortunately, it didn't have anywhere near the delta V it needed in order to get its capture, let alone its return, because it needs to go back to Kerbin, thanks to the fact that we are playing with Kerbalism, and with Kerbalism, samples like the materials bay and the goo have to go back in order for you to collect the science from them. And there has been a task force assigned to do an investigation to say what went wrong, and I will explain what went wrong very, very, very soon. But the important news is that the math team were completely cleared of any problems. Our budgets were all fine. This was a problem in the VAB. But why I'm out here with this thing is because, well, I was thinking after the stream last time, this guy is in this, it's done its flyby of the moon, and it's now in this great big giant orbit, and I tried to put, I put a maneuver out here at Apoapsis to try to get my periapsis down into Kerbin's atmosphere so that we can attempt to recover what we did collect, but unfortunately, I don't have the delta V even to do that. However, so I'm going to delete this node. It's not doing me anything. I realize that, of course, this orbit is still intersecting with the moon's orbit. It should be possible for us to get a moon intercept and perhaps still do something with this. And to be honest, I thought maybe I could recover this mission, but then I realized even if I did manage to get a capture about the moon, I have nowhere near the fuel needed to break back out of that orbit again. So I think what I shall do is see if I can get myself a moon encounter and then see what I can do with it. That's about it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to set the moon. I put a maneuver out here. We're going to set the moon as a target. And you can see here our close encounter indicators. By the time we're down to here, the moon's going to be here. So that's nowhere close. But we can see when we're going to be close to a moon encounter by simply popping ahead in orbit here. Oh, like if we look at that, that's pretty close here. We can see that these two are coming pretty close. Why don't I try and see if I can finagle that into a moon encounter. So I'll put this here. It looks to me like I'm just going to the opposite side of those. And I'm going to do a little bit of prograde here. Oh, it was there. It was there. Okay, not doing it that way. Doesn't take much. A tiny little burn here, and we're starting to get a moon encounter. Now, let's not get too excited. This moon encounter is in 30.5 days. So don't expect this to be dealing, anything soon. So let's take a look at this encounter a little bit more closely. And just remind people what the plan was. The plan was to capture in this orbit, then to go down into low space and get some materials bay and goo in low space, then to break out and go back to Kerbin. I might be able to finagle enough to get a capture, but then, so what? It's going to sit there and be useless. So what I think I shall do instead is sort of put this fella out of its misery. So where's that maneuver node? I'll show you what I mean. I'll give it an explosive death so I don't have to look at it anymore. There's my maneuver node. That brings up the little widgety thing down here. And we're just going to kind of see what we can do about aiming this there. That's all I'm going to do. Though this is going to we got this maneuver coming up in 20 days, so we're not going to be seeing this crash anytime soon. I don't want to wait 20 days to do this, so what we're going to do right off the bat is get back in the VAB. We'll talk about what went wrong, and then I'm going to rebuild this thing and try it again and hopefully do it right. But what I will do here is open up alarm clock, We'll add a notification for this maneuver. We'll give ourselves maybe 10 minutes warning ahead of time. So we got this maneuver coming up in 20.5 days. This maneuver I deleted. I do have in 4.5 hours Munar 1. Munar 1, I can show it to you. It is, boop. Is that it? There's Munar 1 in this orbit. I have a contract to adjust its orbit. And that's the maneuver to help facilitate that. So we'll get to that today. But right now, why don't we get to the Space Center. I could whip around the moon, James is saying, and I did consider that. I could whip around the moon, use the moon to get a gravity assist and go into Kerbin's atmosphere, and I suspect very strongly that that's a very doable thing to do. But then what? Like, I'm not getting to the moon for, like, it's over 20 days from now. I don't want to wait 20 days for my materials-based science. I'm an impatient person. I want to do it right now. So that's why it's just too far into the future, and I just flat out don't want to wait that long. And I do have a plan for that science. Actually, why don't I show you the plan for the science? This is why I want the science now. I'll show you this. I do have a plan. If we get into research and development, I want to unlock, I think it's this node landing, yes. And what I want is this, the CC seismic accelerometer. There's a lot of science associated with that, biome-specific science on the surface. I want that before I start putting probes on the moon. I want this for the next stream. So I want my science now is really what this is. So this whole stream today is going to be about collecting science. So here we are. Let's bring up here. I'm going to get rid of my checklist. Let's bring up Munar 3 and I'll explain what went wrong. So here's Munar 3, right? And I planned a budget for this thing of 1,410 meters per second, not for the liftoff. Like once I'm in low Kerbin orbit, 1,410 meters per second should be able to do the whole mission. And if we take a look at the probe bit of this, it says 1,503 meters per second. Sounds like I should have plenty. But when I went and did my investigation, look what happens if I put this on vacuum. Stock is telling me that that stage has 990 meters per second. So these two are giving me two entirely different numbers. One of them is wrong, and it's Kerbal Engineer that's wrong. I'm not quite sure what happened and why it's wrong. In fact, I think it's some sort of a staging bit of goofiness. But why don't we see if we can fix that right now by, we're going to take off the booster, take off this engine, keep the lights. I want these lights. We're going to put on a bigger fuel tank. So put this fuel tank on. Put this back on. Okay, so this is now saying 1,512 meters per second, and Kerbal Engineer is saying 2,187. This has something to do with this whole... Actually, I can delete the fairing. I won't be doing this with the fairing on it. It has something to do with this whole... Oh, I know. I bet you I know what I can do. What happens if I change... Nope, that doesn't seem to matter. Or if I change it to this one, that fixed it. Just changing what the root part is fixed this. Now these two, I believe, no, now, oh my gosh, this is confusing. Now stock doesn't think I have any delta V in that stage. Actually, the fairing should belong here. There it is. 1,512, 1,512. So once I changed the root part to, I think it was this one, everything seemed fine. Why that made a difference, I don't know. It's very, very, very confusing, but at least they agree now. I budgeted 1,410. I don't know. Maybe I should see if I can sneak in a little bit more fuel. It's a little bit on the tight side. What if I got this little... That's not very much. I'm wondering if just like an Oscar B might be enough. That'd be 1,700. That's, you know, maybe I'm just kidding. What about a couple of these? I know these are, whoops. These are monopropellant tanks, but I do have the Fuel tank editor. We can delete this. We can change this to, down here, if I scroll down, LFO. Put it on maximum and add that on. And that is liquid fuel and oxidizer all filled up. Doesn't seem to be seeing it though. That's interesting. Oh, it is, but it's not much. Okay. Let's put on an Oscar B. I'm going to sneak an Oscar B in here. I'm going to sneak an Oscar B. I know what I'll do. I am going to just do a slight modification of all this. We're going to take this girder out. This will save us some mass too. That's coming out. That's coming out. That's coming out. We need to change the root part to here. That's coming off. This is coming out. Putting an Oscar B in there. This will be a better. Put the root part back to that again. And now let's start sticking stuff on. So I had a goo container here, a goo container here, a fuel cell here, and let's see here. This was a, does that sit okay? Oh, that sits nice in that little spot. These are, this one is oxygen for the fuel cell, and this is hydrogen for the fuel cell. I just want to make sure that I didn't mess up any of my numbers there. I need to have at least 5,000 units of hydrogen, and I do. And I need to have at least 2,600 units of oxygen. Oh, that's oxidizer. Yes, which I do. There, that even looks a little bit better. And I'm not getting a delta V number. Oh, staging? Yes, the staging's messed up again. Damn you, staging! 1785. That's now plenty of fuel. Okay. Put our blinky lights back on. We're going to do this. Oops. Turn that tank to a dark tank. Oh, I don't want an dark tank. Yep. All right. Put the fairing back on. Actually, what I should do is check action groups. I'm sure that got all messed up. One was, a Communitron antenna. No, that's back on there. That's that. Yep. 2 should be a mystery goo, a fuel cell, and a science junior. And 3 should be the same thing. Okay. No, this is working. Okay. Don't forget the lights. Absolutely don't forget the lights. And that's still set right. Okay. Build fairing. Get this done. This is really the Munar 3B. The first one was a failure. Hopefully this one will not be. Okay, and I don't know where that came from. This should go back now. Yeah, I was a little worried about this because I added some mass. And this thing won't have the DV. Well, I don't have this fuel tank right full. No, I think I'm gonna need more oomph on this. Bum bum bum. Sorry, I'm playing around. What's this thrust at? That thrust is at full. What's the staging here? The staging makes sense, right? Yep, it does. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm just reducing the fuel in this tank. I'm going to put a third SRB on this thing. But I just want to have a decent thrust to weight ratio in that stage. Okay, let's take this off. Let's take this off. Let's put these on 3-way symmetry. And we're definitely going to test this. We're going to go 3-way symmetry with the SRBs. and three-way symmetry with that. This, of course, increases the chance of a launch failure, unfortunately. But this seems to be the simplest way to do, because Kerbalism does induce engine failure sometimes on ignition, and now with 3 engines going, that's 3 times the chance for a launch failure. So we'll put these on a separate stage and release the launch clamps only there. That gives us plenty of delta V. Let's play with the launch thrust. There. That's on full. I think that's good. So I'll save this booster later, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Well, there's only one way out of it, is there? Is to see if this. Let's see. I'm gonna do a test launch. So we're just gonna save this because this is technically now a new booster. I want to make sure things still go okay. So simulate. We're gonna simulate just the launch, and then we're gonna do this mission. Ah. Being tell you like my Let's Do the Math series. Thank you very much. I'm getting an idea for another Let's Do the Math video, but that's going to have to be for some time in the future. I'm kind of deep in doing the tutorial videos right now. Okay, so throttle up, Let's watch these engines because all 3 of them need to ignite. And we're off. Turn off alarm clock there. We don't need that. Okay. Pitching over. Lots and lots. I think there's gimbling on these engines. Yeah, there is. I think it's Restock that puts gimbling on these SRBs. I mean, it's great. It gives you a ton of attitude control, that's for sure. A little bit too far to the south, so I'm just going to knock it towards the north just a little bit. Want to get right onto that 90 degrees. It's pitching over very nicely. Again, I'm not doing the pitching over. It's doing it. It's just following that prograde vector. If anything, it's probably going up a little too steeply, but it ain't bad. Okay, about to lose those SRBs. There we go. And they're probably going to crash. Oh, a little bit of Keystone Cops there with them ducking each other out. All right. Yeah, I really don't see why this would be a problem. Yeah, we should take this up still. Oh, I should reduce throttle. No, let's not. I want to get this over with. Again, this is just a test to see if it will make orbit. I think it's through the hard part, so I don't see why it wouldn't. Our apoapsis is just past 80 kilometers. So just time warping. I just want to get up to apoapsis. There is still... that. Let's stage the fairings. They're okay. Antenna's still there and good. It is. Let's see. I got my velocity is about 750 plus that is 21. It's kind of close. Oh well, we'll go for it. Let's do it. Okay. So terminate the simulation. Might be close getting into orbit. Wasn't a very good insertion. It's gonna be tight. Okay. Save and launch. Okay, T and Z, and let's put this on here. And again, gotta make sure all 3 of those go before I let go. They're all going. Off it goes. There was a stream a while ago where all those didn't go. All right. that onto the prograde vector. 90-degree heading. That's perfect. Like that. We do have a contract. I can't forget about it. Well, there should be another contract associated with this. Do I have this on the wrong one? Okay, I'll have to fix that in a little bit. Right now I'm paying attention to what's going on. There was a contract to get into a specific orbit, and that house somehow ain't there. Oh, I think I know what I might have done. I think I might have deleted it by mistake. Well, not deleted the contract, but just deleted it from this view. We'll get it in a sec. Right now, we're about to lose these SRBs. There we go. Will they do the whole ducking each other out again? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to reduce throttle here. So we're close to a minute away from apoapsis. Okay. I believe the contract I'm looking for. There is a in a specific orbit about the moon. Let's add that to Munar 3. Munar 3. Still not there. Oh, I somehow did that. Okay. There they go. Okay. Well, let's pay attention to what's... I had it hidden. I must have been so... So yeah, 2 contracts. One to go into a specific orbit, and the other is to bring some science back to Kerbin. And I know that the fine print is good. Because this thing had no trouble with fine print before. It just had trouble with fuel. Okay. And then the plan as well, we're going to send another probe out towards the moon, and it's going to collect all kinds of biome-specific space science too. That's the plan. And hopefully it'll all go well. Alright, I'm going to release the fairing. There we go. Put some lights on. Okay. And I'm still just watching my apoapsis here. It's just about at 70 kilometers. And almost at 80. There we go. Cut that throttle. Get up to apoapsis. So the plan here again is to collect mystery goo and materials-based science from space, both low and high around the moon, and get it back to Kerbin. That is the plan. Well, now I got plenty of fuel. Now that I did a much better ascent than I did when I was in simulation, I got plenty of fuel to finish this off. Going to the moon has definitely been a theme of this series. But I'm hoping to finish that all off pretty soon. Whoa. Waiting a little too long. Let's punch this. Alright. Ugly, ugly orbit. 85 by 79. That ain't pretty, but it's gonna work. Okay, let's just put this onto the north vector for some solar panel exposure. I believe, no, I don't think I have deployed the antenna, so I should do that right now before I end up forgetting. I believe I made that one. There it is. There's my antenna. Okay, let's get ourselves to the moon. Oh, let's turn everything off. Moon, 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 where are you? Focus view on the moon. Oh, no, not focus view. Set target for the moon, and then bring us back to here. Here. 8:55. Why do I always... There. Focus view. All right. And again, we're going for this orbit here. That's part of our task as well. I've had 2 missions coming to try and get into this orbit, and this is now the 3rd one. Maybe it's this contract that's jinxed or something. I don't know. Oops. Oh, I think the timing's good. Let's a little retrograde, a little prograde. Oh, we're coming around the wrong side. I'm just noticing that. We're coming around completely the wrong way. That's the way we want to come around here. Silly. Try and do this with as little fuel as I can. Retrograde. A little more timing in. Take off a little bit more. Keep turning that the wrong way. Here, let's make jumps more. Wow, this is taking being able to knock off a lot. It must be at the... I have a very... oh, here we go. I do have a bit of an eccentric parking orbit, so that's probably contributing to this. A little bit more finicky. Alright, that's good for now, and then we'll have to do a correction to bring that periapsis down so it's just touching the orbit, but that will be good for current orbit here. Let's see, okay. Yeah. Let's get over there. So warp to the maneuver. Put that on to prograde. So this is going to be Munar 3 round 2. Alright. Okay. So about 30 seconds. Let's just time warp a little bit. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. And it'll just be very briefly on this stage. And then on that. Just a little bit. There we go. So lots and lots of delta V. Remember I budgeted 1410 and it was well over, it was close to 1700 meters per second of delta V on this thing, so should be able to do it easy. Easy like. Is full thrust, right? That's okay. It's a good little engine. It gets the job done. Okay. Yeah, the Perseverance stream. Keep me in the loop if anything exciting happens with that. This is, of course, the... I gotta slow down and think about what I'm doing just a second. It's, of course, NASA's Mars rover. Should be... And actually, it seems like the landing will occur a little bit after this stream is set to be done. Overcooked it just a bit, but that's okay. All right, let's set up that correction. But I am not watching the stream because this takes up enough of... I don't need the distraction, but if there are people watching the stream from of the rover landing at the same time they're watching this. Keep me in the loop, please. Okay. Really, yeah. That's looking kind of okay. Let's turn the scale down a little bit. I think a little radially. Oh, that was too much. Radially this way. Again, I want that periapsis to just be touching that orbit. That looks pretty good. It even looks like again, the way in which we're coming in is already kind of close to being in the plane of the orbit that we're trying to match. So that's going to work out all right. Okay. So that is that. Again, we will put this onto the normal vector for the solar panels. And get out for that burn. This is a very short burn, so I'm just going to knock down that thrust quite a lot. Okay, let's get out there. Goodbye, Kerbin. It was great knowing you. We hopefully will be back. The plan is to return to Kerbin. Okay. All right, we'll do the burn. No need to wait for the burn indicator to get to 0. This is not that time sensitive, so I'm just going to bring that down. How we do? That's pretty sweet. We'll get ourselves into the moon's SOI. So let's select that and say warp to here. Here comes the moon. (3:55) Eastern Time. Yeah, that's going to be very close to when this stream is going to be done. Probably a little bit after this stream is going to be done. Okay, we are now in the moon. Let's change our view. Oh! Ah ha ha ha! Munar 1. Yeah, let's deal with that right now. So this is Kerbal alarm clock, and it has given me a notification that Munar 1 is within 10 minutes of its maneuver node. There's nothing urgent happening right now. Obviously, we have to get our capture, but we can come back to here. So it gives you this nice little menu. I can delete this notification because I don't want it anymore, and then we can just give us a jump to ship. So we're going to jump out to, very briefly, to Munar 1. So here we have, this is Munar 1 and its contract. Munar 1's a really, really old probe. It's been, here, let's turn again, everything off. It's been in orbit here for a while, but I have this contract to put it into this orange orbit. And what we're going to do is we're doing a maneuver right here, which is going to get us intercepting the moon right around here in about 3.5 days. And then this green orbit is our projected orbit. And to me, it looks like, you know, we'll have to do some tweaking after this, but looks like the moon's going to be doing a lot of our work for us. So this is not a particularly, well, actually, maybe I should, now I'm thinking about it, maybe I should actually get to when this maneuver is supposed to happen. So we're going to hit warp to that maneuver. I'm going to turn the thrust down on this guy. Again, it's a very small little burn. Probably a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to do the maneuver right now. Oh my gosh, I can't. You know what I should do? I should focus on the moon. Here we go. Let's watch the moon. There's so much going on out there. There we are. We're bringing our trajectory from here up to here so that the moon doesn't affect us too much. So I think we can just do this right now. So here we go. Slow down. Cut. How does that look? So we're coming, you know, not that close to the moon, But now our projected orbit afterwards, it's not showing it to us. I guess we'll find out when we get there. That's okay. I think this one's our orbit we're supposed to go into. We'll see when we get there. So I just want to make sure this probe is all in reasonable state for us to leave it. Electricity says perpetual. I think we can just leave it alone. Again, I'm going to use alarm clock. I'm going to add an alarm. The alarm clock sees that we're going to be encountering the moon. There's an SOI change, so I'm going to give myself 5 minutes warning before we encounter the moon, and we'll just put in that alarm. That alarm is in 3.5 days. We'll get back to that maybe even later this episode, but right now, do that. It is the Munar 3B we got to get back to. A little bit of jumping around. Little bit of jumping around. Okay, here we are. So, more or less where we left off. So I believe I have things set on 2. So we're going to put 2. And that opens up the materials bay. It opened up hopefully just one of the goos. And it should have started the fuel cell. The fuel cell is running because these little solar panels do not generate enough electricity to run, especially the materials bay. If we put on the materials bay... Oh, it still says waiting. Oh, don't tell me because... Force run. Okay. I think... Because I did collect materials bay with Munar 3, I think Kerbalism's a little bit confused. Oh, okay. I think I have to do the same thing with this one. Is there a force run? Oh, shoot. I am collecting materials bay, but I'm not collecting goo. What? No. How come I got a force run with this? Not with this. Push. Stopped. Just go stopped and waiting, but the other one had a force run. Shoot. Okay, I might not be able to collect. Okay. Just gonna have to see what happens here. I think it's all confused because I've already collected this, technically, but I didn't get it back to Kerbin because it's now in a high orbit about Kerbin. I didn't get it back to the KSC, but what I think I just have to do... I'm forced... Wait a minute. I'm very confused. I'm going to open up the Kerbalism science thing. Materials bay. Yeah, there's nothing in the... Okay, never mind. I thought for a second here it already said there's some in research and development. I think it's actually confused. I think it is confused. There is no... Oh, bottom button. I'm seeing that. Okay, let me see if I go to here. Turn that off. Info. Thank you. Thank you very much. Who was that? Fly Navy said bottom button. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're collecting both. So I got to get this up to 9, and I got to get this up to 27. I don't think it's going to stop automatically. I don't know who's going to get there first. Oh, it looks like the goo will. Okay. So the goo's done. Oh, and this is done. Okay. Stop. 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 Okay. So I have my material study, 27 science and 9 science. I think the 9.1 is wrong. And we can take that now and we can transfer that to our storage container because only this is coming down to the surface. So this stuff should now be in there. Good. Okay. All right. That worked. That was a little weird, but I think it worked. Okay. Next, we need to focus ourselves on the moon here. And we need to do ourselves a capture. So we're adding a maneuver right there at periapsis. That was a little bit of a panicky moment there. We'll get our capture. This time we have 981 meters per second left. That is lots and lots and lots and lots for what we want to do. Okay, and we'll switch to here. And again, we do have to, I went a little too far. We do have to get the right, like if we take a look at the orbital parameters, there is an argument to periapsis, so that means you want the periapsis here and the apoapsis here. So there is a bit of tweaking we're going to have to do with this, but let's, one thing at a time. Okay, periapsis there is pretty close. Let's see if we can use some radially, I think it's this one I need. Let's get the periapsis and apoapsis just right first. So 254 by 204. So yeah, we need to come more this down. 204. There we go. That's pretty close. And now we need to use a radial. That's it. To get this periapsis to be close to this periapsis. And we also need to match inclination, so that's going to take a little bit of normalness. Because you want to match this orbit. Wow, that's looking pretty good. I'm sure that's good enough. I am confident that that is good enough. Okay, so we got to capture. Yeah, let's go and do it. So, oh wait, let's turn up the throttle limit. I noticed how long that burn was. Okay, let's get down there. And retrograde. Watch this from out here. This should hopefully be the end of this contract. This is my third attempt to do this. The first attempt went astray because I forgot to put a mystery goo onto the vessel, which was a requirement of the contract. My second attempt went astray because I didn't have enough fuel. So, third time's a charm. Let's hope it works this time. Time warp a little bit closer. Actually, I can see I need to be not on retrograde, but I actually need to be a little bit off of retrograde on that maneuver node, because there is a bit of normalness and a bit of radialness to this too. Okay. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. And again, I'm more looking at these orbital parameters going green than I am going to be looking at the maneuver node indicator. But so far, this seems pretty good. I'm getting ready. I'm going to reduce throttle here, and we're just going to watch the contract. The moment that goes green, it did. There we go. Didn't quite finish the burn, but this has now gone green. We should wait the mandatory 10 seconds. Hoorah! There we go. Contract complete. So that is step number 1 of all this. Still have this step to bring some science home to Kerbin, but we're not done with our science collecting yet. Oh no, sir. We still got to get materials bay and goo in low space. So what I was thinking of was, let's see, here, let's again turn off all this distracting information. There we go. We're going to be performing our ejection here to go back towards Kerbin. So I'm thinking all I really need to do is get my periapsis low at this side of the moon and then do my ejection. There's no sense going completely down to a low orbit. So that way we'll get our periapsis low here. We'll just, then we'll, collect our science, and then we'll perform the burn at periapsis, which would be the most efficient place to do our ejection. No sense in circularizing in low space. I don't see why that would be necessary. So I'm just thinking, as we go, I think right around here. So I'm going to time warp. I'm not going to use a maneuver for this. Time warp out to around here-ish. To see how precise this all is. We're going to turn ourselves retrograde. And I just want my periapsis get down about 10 kilometers or so, I would say. Maybe 12. That's about it. 12 kilometers. And we'll cut it at 14. That's good. I don't want to get into too many because there's limited ignitions here. I don't want to do too many tweaks. Still got 16 ignitions, but there's no sense playing that roulette wheel. All right, so... Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Is this running still? It is. No! Oh, dear. I just realized I might have made a grievous error. Okay, we'll find out. Oh, it might be okay. I still got a lot of hydrogen. Maybe? Okay. Okay, my grievous error. I was doing a lot of worrying, and I'm still on retrograde here, stupid. Come on. There we go. My grievous error was that fuel cell was running that entire time, and I thought, and it wasn't necessary once the experiments were done, and I thought that perhaps I had used up all my hydrogen and oxygen, but I can see that there's still plenty of hydrogen and oxygen, so maybe the fuel cell turns itself off automatically? I don't know, but whatever. I still have more than half of it, so it should be okay. Okay. Let's get down to low space, which I think, isn't it 60 kilometers? Low space? Let's get down there. And then we'll get down to low space. We'll open up the other materials bay and goo. Okay, here we go. A little closer. I think 60 kilometers is low space. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to go with that. Okay. And we'll get ready to start the fuel cell. And then I think I had 3 for the action group. Yeah. Fuel cell running. There it is. Yep, it's running. And yep. I think everything's going. So we are collecting more materials bay, more goo. This should be space low. Now it's entirely possible that we might, because it takes 20 minutes to collect all that materials bay, we might not be done by the time we're out, but we'll just ride around again. We might be out of near space before coming back up. Definitely on the next go, but I don't think we're going to quite... I think it's 27 science? Oh, maybe. We might make it. Oh, the goo is done. Oh, we're out of... We're out. Okay, so let's stop the fuel cell. We didn't quite get all the material study, but that's easy. We just ride around one more time. Warning, Munar 3 batteries are almost empty. Why? Is it just because of it? Okay. We're okay. We're fine. Relax. We're back. Batteries don't do very much. There's not much electrical generation that the solar cells is doing when the... Okay. So, again, back to 60 kilometers. Start up that fuel cell again. There it goes. And we should be starting to generate. Yep. Get more and more. I'm not sure how much. How much is... That's it. 36. It's done. Okay. So we can stop the fuel cell now. We've collected all the materials bay. We've collected all the goo. We're going to transfer it all up to here. Transfer data here. So now all of this stuff should all be stored in that upper thing. That's good. It's time to head back to Kerbin. I'm not sure if we can do this right away, but we're going to try. Gonna try. We got so much fuel. I'm just gonna... Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Be careful here. Don't want to make this return too hot. I usually find around 35 kilometers is a nice number for going into Kerbin's atmosphere back from the moon. Okay, we are coming up on this maneuver really quickly, so let's just do it. It's full good. We're just gonna put it on prograde. 17-second burn. Just gotta get back home. That fuel cell stopped. That's good. Back to here. Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and go. On our way out of here. Let's watch this from here. We're coming for you, Kerbin. Okay, reduce that throttle. 35 kilometers or thereabouts. Oh, whoa, went way, 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 way too far. Just gonna reduce this throttle. Come back. That, I worry, will be a little bit too hot. Might be okay. I don't know. That's good. All right. So... this really should be it. I'm getting to the scary part now. I never did test this thing on re-entry, so hopefully it'll all be okay. Only this top bit is coming back. That is the plan. So, let's just exit. Let's exit the moon's SOI first. Bye-bye, moon. We'll be back. Okay, and let's time warp about here. Doing the long fall back to Kerbin. The Moon Mapper 1's turning on and off as it runs out of data. Okay. Kerbin looking big and blue and beautiful. All right, one last check to make sure all that stuff is in the return capsule, because it would be pretty bad if any of those samples were actually still in here. All right. Okay, let's lose all of this. Retrograde. And I'm going to actually keep this on, SAS on, locked on the retrograde vector. The parachute should be armed. I believe it is, yep. And hopefully this will all go. I'm nervous now because I never did test this. It's such, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. It looks like it should be naturally aerodynamic this way, but not how. Oh, I hear explosions happening over here. It's oh! Sweet. How close is that coming to us? Jeepers. That was scary. There is lots of explosions happening back here. The world is being rocked. Things are very, very calm, though, with this little guy. Get ready to jettison that heat shield when we don't need it anymore. It's time warp. This is going fine. Whoa. Whoa, a little bit of camera fun there. All right. It's taking a long time to slow down. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. I think the scary stuff is all done. Here, let's put this on here so we can... There goes our parachute. Oh, this is exciting. This should be a nice little science hall for us. Yep, yep, yep. All right. And we should be getting that full deploy. There we go. Let's jettison that heat shield. I don't know why I did that, to be honest. This thing's so light, but I just like listening to it. I just like it hitting the ground. Here we are. Nicey nice. It is falling so slowly. Even at the full time warp speed. Okay, we're just about there. I should have put some lights on this thing. Really. I didn't think about it hitting in the dark. There we go! Recover! That should be it. That went well! That went well. And if I'm a little bit surprised, it's because I am a little bit surprised. So, what did we get here? 48 science from all of that? I guess that's alright. I'm up to 123.3 science. Let's get into here. And the one I was eyeing was landing. Again, for the double C seismic accelerometer. Let's grab that right away. And... realize as well, I never did get into... there was a... No, let's get into what I want to build. I know what I want to do. Yeah. Let's get into here. I want to, again, this is going to be about science. And what I want to do, if we take a look at, you know what, I'm not going to put you away just yet. And I'm not doing any contracts. This is for no contracts. This is going to be purely for science. If we open up our science archive from Kerbalism, and if we take a look at the moon, I have collected a reasonable amount of science from around the moon. Like, let me see, here's the light experiment. I got moon, space low, space high. I now have the materials bay. Why does it say I don't have... I think Kerbalism's confused. Oh dear. Okay. I think that was the same thing for the goo. Yeah, it still thinks this stuff's in flight. Okay, I might have to make a... I'm not sure it counted that. I don't think it did. Okay, anyway, that's neither here nor there. I might have to recover that Munar 3 sometime, but but what I'm pointing out in my own stumbly way is, for instance, if I take a look at the temperature scan around the moon, I got space low, space high, but none of this stuff is biome specific. And that is because I do have a contract, or a strategy, sorry, from the Strategia mod, that gives me extra money every time I go into a new biome. So I've been avoiding doing biome-specific things in orbit about the moon. But not anymore, because I have the MITE experiment. And the MITE experiment is biome-specific in low space about... Well, here I have it all about Kerbin, but also about the moon. And also the SITE experiment is also biome specific, but this time in high space. So the plan here is to build 2 polar satellites, one for high space, one for low space, send them off to the moon, and have them start collecting all kinds of this light, this mite, and this site type of stuff. That's going to be the plan. I'm looking at the time. I'm thinking I'll probably get the build done. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If this goes quickly, maybe we can get the whole thing done. I can't really say. So let's get started with building ourselves a little probe. And this little probe needs to have, sorry, if we configure it, the mite experiment and the site experiment. Actually, I think if I scroll backwards, it comes up quicker. Yes, these 2 experiments. So that is good there. Let's bring back up my checklist. Oh, I didn't. I never lost it. There we go. I don't want to lose my checklist. Okay, and I did a little bit of figuring again ahead of time as to what this thing is going to need. As far as electric charge goes, it needs 0.52, I think, is the amount of electrical consumption if both of these are running. Let's run them. There we go. So I'm going to use a newly unlocked, this guy, the deployable photovoltaic cells like that. Also, we need to transmit this stuff back. And the thing that I've been using, because I'm so used to it, is just because you can communicate from like the moon and around Kerbin with just a single Communitron 16. But, and then I've been getting into trouble with transmitting that data because the Communitron 16 only has a max speed of 2.2 kilobytes per second. But I got a new antenna. I have the HG-20 high gain antenna, and it has a max speed of 9.66, like a whole ton more. In fact, it can transmit it, if it's going to be at this max speed, as fast as these guys can generate it, the 2 experiments. So I think it makes way more sense for me, excuse me, to put on one of these fellas here. Extend that there. Not for the strength, but for that transmission speed. And I'm going to use that one. I'm going to do a little bit of setting up here. I'm going to turn it this way. And it's going to deploy like that, so that when it's retracted, it's up like this. And that should make it easy for me to get a fairing around it. Excuse me, got a bit of a sore throat here. So, storage capacity. I need 360 units of electrical storage by my figuring. So I'm going to put on just 3 of these fellas, like that. And that deals with generation, that deals with that deals with transmission speed. Now I don't need to worry about storage capacity because it'll be transmitting it off very, very quickly. That should do it. Now, this is the probe that's going to go down into low space. So it doesn't need a lot of delta V. It's not going to do all the care. It only needs about 170 meters per second of delta V. So I'm going to see, let's see. An Oscar A maybe? With an ant on the bottom? What's that do for me? That is 382 meters per second of delta V. I could probably take that down a bit. Maybe a little more than that. There we go. And like this, really, let's put this up. This should take care of everything. There's no contract. I don't need that. I have control. The probe has been configured. It has science. The power generation should be fine. Electrical storage is fine. Antenna strength is fine. Antenna speed is fine. Data storage is fine. And now propulsion is fine. I'm not going to put any RCS on it. Doesn't need parachutes. Doesn't need thermal protection. Like, this is really the whole thing. Maybe put on some lights. Lights would definitely be a good idea. Let's see here. Lights. I'm going to use these little dome lights. Turn it to that. We'll put the blink on. Put the blink at like half a second. Very, very simple little probe. That's all that's going to be. But now what I got to do is I got to duplicate that, because one of these is going to go into high space and one of these is going to go into low space. So we're going to get simply a decoupler, the little one. There we go. We're going to stick another probe body underneath that, like so. And then basically just duplicate all of this stuff. So here, let's extend this. Let's see what this is going to look like all extended. So this one again is going to be, to configure it, it's going to be the mite experiment and the site experiment. Put those both on waiting. Oh, already running. Ah, it doesn't like me having them twice. Okay, we'll just have to make sure to turn those on. It's going to need some solar generation. Same idea. Let's see. We'll put this on the opposite side maybe. Definitely don't need 3 of them. Gonna need another one of those big dish antennas that transmit all of this nastiness away. That might work. Yeah. You know what? What I might do. What if... Just want it so that when it's everything's stowed away, that everything retracts in a reasonable way. That's all right. Okay. And batteries. Just needs 3 batteries like that one did. So 2, 3 like that. Let's make everything gold. I like gold. I like gold. There we go. Nice. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm looking at my budget, make sure that everything is okay. One thing, actually, let me take this off for just a second, because something I completely ignored is if I look at the center of mass, it's probably not lined up with the center of thrust because this is so far off. Or this antenna is so heavy, but Kerbalism gives you a really nice way of dealing with that. If you take it off the compact view, one of the things it shows here is torque, and torque you want it to be 0. So all I got to do to get the mass and the thrust completely lined up is just move this, and whoops, I need to have it on fine control, and just watch that torque number. And when that torque number is 0, I know that this is all lined up nice. Much better than just eyeballing it. And then I could do the same thing with this one. Actually, what I should do is add more to this before I get any further. So this is the thing that's going to carry this all the way out to the moon. Let's extend that. Extend this one too. Boop. Ooh, I'm happy. Okay. And it's going to need a total of 1,350 meters per second. It's what's going to do most of the work. So put one of these underneath. And let's see, this fuel can maybe? With a pug engine on the bottom maybe? What did I say? 1,350? Oh, this has got it covered. Easy. Take off, bring down the mass a little bit. It's 15, 16. That should be good. Let's see. Some more color variations. I like the orange with that. Nice. Okay. Okay. And again, what we'll look at is torque. So, because definitely with this antenna sticking out like this, it's the torque is going to be a bit. So what I'm going to do... Oh, stop. Go down to 1 times. Let's put all the batteries, actually even like this way. Like that. Did that do much for the torque? Not really. I could start moving this in, but because of the way it is, no, I don't want, because if I retract this, it's going to be like that. It's already a little bit dorkish. I don't like that. And if I start moving it inwards, it'll be completely clipped inside. So, you know what we'll do? Let's extend this, and let's test this. So this is going to be... Lordy, what am I up to? If I go new... Okay, yeah, let's cancel. Okay, let's save it. Yeah, and then let's open up. That's what I wanted to do. Sorry. What hex number am I up to? That's what I'm trying to say. The HECS 6. Okay. Now I can give this a name. HECS 6. And save. Okay. What part does the engineer, Kerbal engineer, need? For this stuff in the VAB, you don't need any parts. If you want this kind of data when you're out in flight, you need to have, I believe it's under science, this part right here. It has to be added on, and then you get additional flight data. But I don't feel I need that, so I'm not going to. Okay. So, boom-de boom-de boom. Let's put on some more lights. More lights. You know what? I'm going to do something a little different with the lights. I'm going to put on this one here, three-way symmetry. And then I'm going to put one here. Do these kind of clip together? Okay, that's what I don't know, maybe this won't work. I just find that these lights just aren't bright enough. I wonder what... If you did this, I don't think that looks entirely stupid. Slide that one down to there. And slide this one to about here. I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. There we go. Orange and blinky again. Blink on. See what that looks like. Blink. Alright. So what I'm going to do, let's save this. I'm going to use the simulator. And we'll see if the reaction wheels that are in the probe body... No, those antennas are definitely not helping with torque. There's no question about it. In fact, that's what we're going to experiment with right now. And I just realized I just didn't mean... I simulated this on the launch pad, which is completely not what I wanted to do. I want to simulate this in orbit, and we're going to test it, and we'll see how bad it's going to be. And I know I can use the cheat menu to put it into orbit, but I want to do this. We're role playing this as a simulator. We're not using the cheat menu. All right. I want to see how bad the torque is, because maybe the reaction wheels that are in this thing would be good enough. I don't know, because there are two sets of reaction wheels in the two probe bodies. Let's put the lights on, see what they look like. It's not terrible, I guess. I don't know. All right, so we're going to throttle up, and I'm just going to punch it, and does it hold the vector? No. See, so there is too much torque. It's because of this antenna right here. So what we're going to do, we're going to do that. We're going to terminate this simulation, and we're going to add in some reaction wheels, see if we can not counter that. Oh, the other alternative, ooh, something to think about. The other alternative is not to move that antenna. My thrust to weight on the bottom here is huge. So another alternative is to use a smaller engine like the Spark and move the thrust, not that, to balance it all off. Okay, now I do not have now enough delta V, do I? I don't trust. No, I don't. So I need more fuel. I need about 1350. Ew, that's a little tight. Let's see, what other fuel cans do I got? Stick an Oscar A under here. Stick an Oscar B under there. There we go. Okay. That's a lot of fuel. But what I'm looking at is, if I don't want to move that in to balance the mass, why not move the engine out to balance the thrust? So if we grab this, is that lined up okay? No, I'm going to have to... Okay. So I needed the mass to come more this way, or the thrust to come more this way. And again, I'm looking at this torque number. That's really what I'm looking at. So I can do it as low as I can. I think I need to come this way a little bit. Yep. And then more this way. Oh, that's making it worse. Oh, I saw, 0.07 kilonewtons. I'm sure I can hang on to that. So it's a little bit off center. It ain't the best of solutions, because what's going to happen here is, I just realized something else. I want to put a structural part in there. Is as the fuel drains, it'll be a little off, but I'm hoping it'll be okay. Here. I'm going to try this again. Slide this up this way. It's kind of hiding the fact that it's a little off center. Now, is this reducing the torque? Yep. I had it down to 0.07 kilonewtons of torque. And if the torque gets to be too much, you can always just reduce throttle. And then you don't get as much torque. .09 kilonewtons. I'm sure that'll work. I'm sure that'll work. Yeah, I'm seeing Alt F12. I'm trying to avoid using Alt F12 and just using the simulator. This is an ungainly looking thing. I'll say that much. Compact. Okay. I do have a lot of fuel, so we can probably take out some of the fuel in this. 1350. That'll do, with some to spare. Okay, so let's save this. We'll simulate this again. Simulate. I think we're going to get this built. I think we're going to send this out there. I think we're going to get this done before this stream is done. Did I hit it again? I did it again. Okay, this... Fine. Did it again. Alt F12. I know Alt F12. I'm just a doofus. Simulate in orbit. I'm sure we can finagle this even with a bit of torque issues. This is all to avoid putting on more reaction wheels. Reaction wheels are a crutch. Alright, there. Put that on Z, full throttle. Okay, again, what we're looking at is when I punch this, does it stay on its vector? So, go. There we go. We fixed it by pushing that off. Excellent. Okay. I'm happy. Let's put a booster under this thing, send it on its way. So, terminate the simulation. Okay, let's wrap this all up here. So, retract that. Should put these on some action groups, actually. Retract that. Retract that. Retract that. In fact, why don't we put all of that onto an action group? I think they can all go at the same time. Extend that antenna. Yep. Extend this solar panel. These solar panels, of course, can't retract, but I see no reason why I would. Extend that. Actually, I'm just thinking, too, while I'm at it, I want to turn down the force percentage on that by quite a lot. There. That should be good. Okay. What mass do we got? What mass do we got? 1.6 tons. I got boosters that can lift that. I don't know why I just pushed what I did. I need to go to sub-assemblies. A 1.6. Ooh. This booster here is really close to being able to do the job. It's kind of hard to believe that it can do the job. Let's check the staging. Boom, boom. The staging is a mess. Oh my gosh. There. Okay, does that make sense? Nope, and he's got to be here. Okay, there we go. So boosters, release. That guy with those. That guy with this. That guy with this. Is this sensible now? This should be able to make orbit. Okay, what we're going to do. This feels a little sketchy. We're going to turn down, get a different decoupler on there. The small one. We're going to get our fairing on there. You know what? And I think because this all looks... I don't know if it's just me. I'm going to strut this. I'm going to get some struts. Just feels like this will be a wonky... Whoa, that didn't work so well. Try that again. It just feels like this would want to be a wonky mess. Okay, now let's build that fairing. I might need to get a bigger booster. Thankfully, I have a bigger booster, so that's not an issue. What is interfering with that? There. This is turning into quite the fairing. There. And then we can stick you back on. Why is KSP so bad at guessing where the stages should go? that. Okay. Nah, it's not enough. All of that work, it ain't enough. Okay. Throw that away. Bigger booster. I shouldn't have been so cheap. Get big boy. Big boy. Don't need this. Don't need this. There. That'll get the job done. This is turning into a popular booster for me. Alright. There. Doesn't need that. There. That's good. Tons and tons and tons of Delta V. We can remove some fuel. Yeah, I didn't even look at what the torque was very low. Rob was asking, what's the torque now? Well, on that one stage, I got it down to 0.09. I think that's fine. Let's put this back. Kilonewton meters, I believe, are the units. I'm sorry, I'm looking at Delta V. Need much less fuel here. That's good. Okay, and we can actually turn this thrust down. There, and we can definitely turn the thrust down on these boosters. Okay. There we are. I think we might have something here. I should definitely go over my checklist and make sure. So, no contract fine print, has control, probe's been configured, has science, has power generation, electrical storage, antennas are checked, antenna speed is very good. Data storage doesn't matter, propulsion's been taken care of, doesn't have RCS, doesn't have parachutes, doesn't require thermal protection. Dealt with the lights. Upgrades aren't going to be necessary. I don't think so. Let's again just check these engines just real quick. How many ignitions? This is the one that's going to do the most work, this little spark. 17 ignitions will be fine. Thrust to weight ratios all the way along are good. Fairing deploy. Yeah, let's put this on clamshell. 4 pieces. Jam up the force a little bit. We'll test it for sure. And the staging I just looked at. Okay. Okay, checklist did its job. Let's test this, because this is really kind of a whole... This payload, in my mind, is wonky looking. I think it is anyway. So we're going to test this for sure. So let's simulate. This time we do want to simulate on the launch pad. And we'll see how this goes. I think we can get these guys inserted around the moon and get them starting to collect their science. I'm excited. All right. Oh, it's nighttime, of course. Oh, well. Okay, throttle up, up it up. No contracts. We don't care about you. Keep an eye on that. And let's punch this. So, boom, boom, rough. HECS 6. So I got 4. No, I haven't been looking at my notifications. I should really look at them. But we'll knock this over first. Okay, lock that onto prograde. Adjust our heading a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. This is just a test. This isn't the real thing. We're just making sure that this thing can get the job done. Get the job done. Okay. And we're going to be losing those boosters in just a little bit. Nice. Okay. How is this? Oh, little explosions. Gotta like explosions. Okay, we'll knock back our thrust. All right, what do we got for notifications? Oh, so this is just our contract is complete. To position a satellite in a specific orbit about the moon. We have new strategies, pilot focus, engineer focus, and scientist focus 2. I do want to start really putting energy into Kerbals and Kerbals in space as soon as this moon probe stuff is all taken care of. Some milestones. We have returned home from a flyby of the moon. Haven't I not done that? Oh, maybe not. I have not done that before. You're right. Return back from the... And we have returned from an orbit about the moon. And again, a boost because of the moon probe's strategy. And then this is bringing science back from the moon. Nice. Okay. How are we doing here? Not really paying much attention to you, am I? I should pay it more attention. More mind. Alright, so... Boosters making a safe landing. No, my boosters go crashing into the ocean. So does SpaceX's sometimes. Let's see. Staging the fairing. Good. Put the lights on. Blinkety blink. And almost at our target apoapsis here. There we go. Now, nothing broke. Do want to make sure of that. Sometimes fairings can do things like break solar panels and antennas. Just want to make sure that's all okay. Yes, this is a simulation. I just want to make sure that this all works fine before we do it for real. Okay, 1 should basically deploy everything. There we go. That looks okay. And let's see here. We are not going to do it, but our speed's about 1,700 meters per second. We got, oh my god, 870 meters per second. Easily we can achieve an orbit. So we're going to terminate this simulation. And we are going to do this thing. Now, I just save this. I'm just going to exit. All I'm going to do is warp to sunrise. Let's warp this to sunrise. And I'm just looking at the time, and I'm thinking we're at about the hour-and-a-half mark. Where is... Maybe instead of doing that... Yeah, why don't we get to Munar 1 and see how that whole switch... Why don't we do that? So instead of doing that launch, we'll do that on Monday for our next stream. Let's get to Munar 1. We're going to jump to that. It's a day away from encountering the moon. And let's see how it does with its flyby of the moon. Okay. And that will finish off the last little bit. So here we are, little Munar 1. We started very early with Munar 1. And now we're trying to reach a very specific orbit. And we are about a day away from the moon. I don't know if we can see the moon yet. No, we're still a ways away. So let's time warp. Here, let's open up alarm clock. And we can... No, let's just time warp like this. Alarm clock will stop us. There goes the moon, coming over top of it. It's just what we want. Oh, some more experiment from the site experiment, the Badlands. Just notice that. That's the site experiment about Kerbin. Okay, we'll delete this alarm. Don't need alarm clock anymore. Let's get warp to here. So we're just coming over the top of the moon. You can see we're keeping a good, healthy distance from the moon. We don't want the moon to affect our trajectory too much. And we're just going to come over the top. And the moon's giving us a very gentle nudge in a southwards direction, which is going to affect our inclination of our resulting orbit. There we are. We are now outside into this new orbit. And our target orbit, that ain't bad, considering we just sort of hodgepodged this. Oh my... Wait, no, it didn't reach it. Okay, I'm sorry. These aren't green. That ain't bad. So our target orbit was this orange one, and we're now in this blue one. I don't think that's entirely terrible. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a menu. What would be, you know what would be a good plan? I'm going to push up. I might do this with a maneuver. I can see I need to bring this Apoapsis up. Am I better off with a little prograde? Probably. Or am I better off with a little radial? I think a little radial. I think that was the way to go. I'm going to delete this node. Do this again. So a little radially outwards, like, oh, look at that. Yes, yes, yes. So what I want to do is I just want to push my apoapsis out so it's very close to the apoapsis of my target orbit. So I'm going to put myself on the radially out vector. That seemed to do the trick. I'm going to check my thrust. This is not going to take too much. Maybe less than that. I'm still having fun with this silly little probe that was from a long time ago. We're just giving a little bit of thrust here. I'm just pushing that apoapsis out. Look at that. I'm so excited that that actually worked as easily as that. We're going to add a maneuver right here. And what we need to do is very simple. We got to match inclinations. Let's get this contract out of the way. So we gotta bring it up towards the north here a little bit. I can see that. So click on the maneuver node. We're going to bring this a little bit northwards. And it's looking like our periapsis is probably a smidge too high, so a little bit of retrograde. So this itsy bitsy ditsy little burn, 26 meters per second, actually, it's a little more than I thought. But that will be the orbital insertion that this thing needs. How many ignitions are left on this engine? I got to be a little careful. 9? We're okay. We're okay. Let's just make sure our solar panels got some decent exposure. There we go. We'll use alarm clock here. And we'll add an alarm. We'll give ourselves 5 minutes warning on this. And that burn's coming up in about 2.5 days, and at that point we should be matching this orbit. But looking at the time, oh, look at this nice view we got here of Kerbin and the moon. Looking at the time, I think I'm going to call this stream to an end. I hope to see everybody again on Monday. Have yourselves a great weekend. Cross your fingers for the lander, or for the rover. That should be landing very soon. But in the meantime, thank you all for showing up, and we'll see you all later.